Good day, everyone. Today we will be discussing Chapter 2 of Thesis or Dissertation. It was mentioned in the previous lecture about the conventional parts of thesis and dissertation that a 5-chapter format or a 4-chapter format is being commonly used by colleges and universities. Chapter 2, or the review of related literatures and studies of the 5-chapter format, is included in the 4-chapter format in Chapter 1 as subpart. If you could see, other parts move. This chapter presents research design, which describes and justifies the methods that will be used to collect data. It should be well developed in order to obtain all the information required to answer your research questions, test a theory, or explain a situation relevant to the main aim of the research. It starts with a short introduction of your research design. The following are the subparts of the methodology: research design, population and sampling, respondents of the study, research instrument, data gathering procedure, and data analysis. I will be presenting excerpts here from different research proposal and actual thesis. I'm suggesting you carefully scrutinize the examples so you could have pattern how it will be written. Again, these are just examples and short presentation which intend to help and guide you. I am not allowed to present an entire copy of a thesis or dissertation, so please make sure that in your actual manuscript you should write comprehensively. Here are examples of introductory sentence or short paragraph in Chapter 2. Try to look at the example in your screen. Although some writers go directly on the discussion of the method, it is not a problem if your institution does not require introductory sentence or paragraph. Look at the example in your screen. Be reminded that most part of research proposal should be in the future tense, while full paper should be in the past tense. Let's now discuss research design, content, and examples. You may begin with a statement about the research approach you will be using. Is it a qualitative, quantitative, or mixed design? Look at the example in your screen. The researcher discusses the method used as defined by an authority. If you're still writing a research proposal, it should be written in the future tense because the gathering of data has not yet been done, or if the institution requires you to defend your research proposal first. Some called it pre-oral presentation or pre-oral defense. In this example, you could see that it is written in future tense. The researcher will use mixed method, specifically convergent method. Then, the researcher defined the convergent method citing authorities, in this example, Creswell and Creswell 2018. Further elaboration of the approach in the next paragraph. This is an example of unpublished thesis which data has been gathered. As you could observe, it's written in the past tense. This study used qualitative research, specifically phenomenology. You could also see that the researcher discussed the method used as defined by an authority. In some research format, research design and research method are separately discussed. In this example, the design and method are obvious, though there are no subheadings. Look closely in order for you to understand the difference between research design and research method. Next, population and sampling. Look at the definition of population, sample, and sampling from qualtrics.com. This example is from a research proposal. Two sampling techniques will be used. Total population sampling for quantitative approach, cluster sampling for the qualitative approach. You could also observe that definition of samplings were discussed citing authorities. Let's see now a sample discussion of respondents of the study. Detailed number of respondents or participants may be discussed after the discussion of sampling. In this example, it is written in the past tense because this is a finished paper. Let's see now examples how the research instrument subpart will be written. There are two examples that will be presented here: a finished research paper and research proposal. Here is an example of how research instrument was discussed in a finished paper. The researcher should indicate if the instrument is a self-made, copyrighted, or an adapted one. In this example, two research instruments were used. First, for the demographic profile. Second, is for the interview questions. In this example research proposal, the researcher explains that she will be using two instruments to obtain the quantitative data needed. Then the grade of the students will represent the learning achievement. Then for qualitative part, an open-ended questions will be used. This is an example wherein the researcher is aligning the instrument on the research problem. Part of this example is the discussion of questionnaire 1. The researcher explained and described the research instruments, including the scale to be used. Don't forget the validation of instruments, discussion about the validator's background and expertise, and of course, the validation process. Please study carefully how it was written. Validity and reliability scores should also be discussed. Next, the data gathering procedure. The researcher should discuss the data gathering procedure from the time of the distribution of the instrument until retrieval. Details of every step or procedure undertaken in the course of gathering should also be discussed. Some researchers present a diagram of data gathering flow. Kindly observe the example in your screen. The last part of chapter 2, at least for this 4 chapter format, is data analysis. Let's see the example. This is an example how you will write data analysis part of a finished qualitative research. According to the researcher, the transcription of audio recorded interview, then coding employed until themes emerged. This is an example of data analysis for quantitative research proposal. The researcher enumerated the statistical tools to be used in treating the data. Here are the references used in this presentation. Thank you to Ms. Janet Policarpio and Ms. Yunesa Relieve for allowing me to use some parts of their papers for this lecture. I really do hope you learned from this presentation. Again, always check your institutional format because thesis or dissertation format varies. What we discussed are the most common content of research design and methodology, or method of the study, or just simply methodology. Thank you. Always remember, it may not be easy, but it's possible.